Good day, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. I hope you are able to hear me and see the presentation also. So today our topic is mind mastery. So we'll go in some detail on various aspects today. Some of them you might already know, and some would be a new perspectives or new ideas for some of us. So, and there will also go through some of those details, and at the end, you will also have an opportunity to ask any questions, inquire anything more further. So, I am Vedantam Rama Vishwanath, and you can call me Rama here. And before we start this journey, I would like you to read this for a moment, and I'll read it for you as well. So, Marcel Proust said that the real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. With this, for next 1.5 hours, I hope we can bring new eyes to see the information and to hear to the knowledge and wisdom that comes through today. Just a little bit about me. I have 2 decades or more of experience. I work with both science, Eastern science, intuition, and also the Western science on models and frameworks. And I'm a master certified coach from International Coaching Federation, apart from other therapy and healing modalities that I use, apart from my regular job. So as we're talking about mind mastery, today I thought we will start with what is the difference between a human and a machine. As most of you would be looking at or hearing about so many things of how robotics is coming, how AI, ML, and so on and so forth. There's so many new technological advancements that are coming in, and at some point it feels like are the machines going to replace humans? Are they going to take the human space? Right? Some of us have those questions also. So I thought for us to look at what could be individuals' contribution as each of us, and how we are different at this point of time, and in the future we never know, but at this point of time, how we are different from the machines. Just for a comparison, humans think, or thinking is one of the elements or components of human existence. And on the technology side, on the machine side, if you see, the artificial intelligence has come in. Communication is another aspect of humans, and that's where the natural language processing, NLP, has come in. So similarly, sensing is the equivalent on the machine side is sensor tech. Moving is robotics on machine side. Imagining is mixed reality, and connecting is through IoT and blockchain. So as every day we are progressing on the technology side, there are so many new ideas that are coming up, new innovations that are flowing through the scientific technological world. So I would like you to now look at the top on the human side, on the left side. The difference between a human and machine at this point of time is the purpose of living. The purpose can be multiple also, but for our conversation, we'll keep it as purpose. And also minding, which constitutes so many other elements. We will look at it as we go forward. And the emotions and feelings, and also for example, the body aches, those are all the feelings, right? All of them. And also the preferences of what each individual wants to prefer or not prefer. So with this background of what differentiates a human being with machine or robots, for example, or so many other virtual realities that we see now, I also wanted us to understand or have a clarity on what is brain and what is mind. Because sometimes these are some basics, but without understanding this, some of these questions that we might have just may not go away. So I thought it will be good for us to start with the foundational as we go towards phenomenal. As some of us might already know or hear about or understand, so brain is a physical organ of the body which has its own shape and size, two hemispheres, right and left. It has its own weight, and it can be touched not by you and me, but let us say a doctor operating on somebody's skull can be able to touch it. And we can consider more like a hardware. It has so many hundreds of billions of neurons. There are two hemispheres we talked about. There is a lower brain, mid-brain, uh, medulla, limbic system. There are so many things that you can touch and feel, and uh, like how we talk about, we can actually divide this whole thing into the brain into multiple ways of prefrontal cortex, limbic system, amygdala, hypothalamus. There are so many pieces or components that makes the full brain. While if I ask you a question, or maybe you can ask yourself, where is mind or what is mind? Then there is no specific point in the body or specific part of the body which we call as mind. Mind is more metaphysical or more abstract. It is not non-physical, and it has no shape and size. Obviously, because there is no shape and size and it is abstract, there is no weight, obviously, and so it cannot also be touched. So it is more like a software. If we understand what software means, all of us have uh, smartphones, laptops, iPods, and so many other gadgets that we use now, right? So there is a hardware, which is the brain, and then there's a mind and the software. Now, there are some thoughts about what this mind software could be, which is termed as TEAM, TEAM. T stands for thoughts, E for emotions, A for attitude, and M for memories. Now, we can expand this into the definition to include more like uh, recollecting or identification and so on and so forth. But at a high level, I think we can start with this understanding of what brain is, how does it help, what does it do in the physical body, where does it reside in the physical body, and what mind is. Now that we have that understanding, let us look at mind mastery from what all can be considered, or what all do we uh, mean when we say mastering your mind. Because most of us on this journey who are, let us say, into meditation or into so many other aspects, uh, who want to achieve some goals, who have ambitions, aspirations, or creativity for that matter. So everybody is looking at how do I utilize what I have, which is the minding capability. So today we'll spend some time on understanding what mind could be. Again, different people can have different perspectives. Today I'm going to talk about one which is essentially a product of the 5,000 years of Vedanta and yogic knowledge of, let us say, our Indian traditions, and then applying that mind and also enriching the mind. And why do we do all of this? Because when we have better mind mastery, better control on our mind, we can have better behaviors, which can then help us have better lives. Just to put it simply. Now, before we go further, I'm going to I'm going to play this video. I would like you to watch this and then we'll proceed further. Just to give a background, the person standing there doesn't have hands. He is going to play carom with his friends and he's going to do it with his legs. Let us watch. what are your reflections when you see this? Maybe you can post on the chat. What are your feelings? What did you observe? What are your reflections? It'll be good to read if you can post it on the chat. So as we're talking about the better behaviors, which can help us have better lives or better living, let me also just talk about more on what are these behaviors that we are talking about. So these behaviors could be physical, right? It could be your body language, it could be the way we walk, or any of those aspects. Mental behaviors, our thinking patterns, or what we process, how we process. Emotional behaviors, how do we process the emotions? What kind of emotions are default, or what are those behaviors that we normally have from an emotional standpoint? Understanding them, identifying them, and clearing them, uh, becoming better at those. Similarly, relationship behaviors, social behaviors, language behaviors. This is another important aspect. When we speak with somebody, when we are having a conversation, either with a loved one or in office or in any place, what kind of tone do we bring in? What kind of expression are we bringing in? What is the pace at which we are speaking? There are so many aspects of our speech. So this is another important aspect that we need to look at. And similarly, all of us in this world struggle or have challenges on with money and wealth. So what kind of behaviors, what kind of ideas do we have about wealth and money? And how do we deal with this whole aspect of wealth and money? And there could be many more. And now let us also look at, as let us say many of you could be meditators, right? And we are even like I said, it could be professional, or could be leaders in different spheres of life, doing surveys and so on and so forth. So typically, as you see, there are two ends of this whole thing, which we are calling as subjective and objective. On the subjective side, you see that there is more dependency, there is more ego-based functioning, more subjective realities, more of reaction, feeling the doership, always busy, attention is dispersed, unconscious behaviors, and also a lot of duality in the mind, more of me and mine bondage, more of not completing the tasks that are at hand, so a lot of redo activities, and a feeling of either a victim or a perpetrator. So either we feel victim of life or victim of somebody else's anger or somebody else's behavior. We keep putting us into this bracket of being a victim, or we might also at some point become perpetrators. These are all based on the subjective realities that we might have and how you process. Now, all the sadhana or all the practice that we are doing in whichever way, it could be, like I said, be simple dhyana somebody does, or somebody is following Ashtanga yoga, somebody is doing something else, and everybody is trying to look at how do I improve. Where all of us want to go towards is on the right side of this, which is becoming independent, from moving from ego observation to observer observation, becoming more objective instead of subjective, becoming more of observer. Like when you meditate also, what are we doing? We are sitting and observing our thoughts, observing our emotions, observing our sensations in the body, observing our breath. This is what we are constantly trying to achieve, move towards this observer space. Similarly, become more calm, be more conscious of what we are doing, whether it is conscious living, conscious uh, focus, conscious living, conscious parenting, conscious relationships, all of this becoming more from unconscious to conscious. And then there's a consistent attention on specific focus. Sai, could you mute? I hear some. And becoming still, there is a movement and also stillness, right? So becoming more still and also becoming more neutral instead of dualities, and also becoming more good at completing tasks, become more balanced and healing. So this is the journey all of us or most of us are on, or we are already there and we have to maintain the same space, the same kind of observer without getting emotionally dragged into things that are not maybe necessary or momentary fluctuations. So can we stay on the side of being the observer more, freedom, bring that everyone plus me kind of a mentality, right? So these are another aspect I wanted us to also look at in some detail. Now, as humans, every day we are always interacting with the outer world. So there is the inner world and there is the outer world. Now, what is this inner world and what is the outer world? Let us look at that also. If any of you have any ideas, you can also post it in the chat. We can look at them as well. But let me continue to talk about this from two, three perspectives. First, I'm going to talk about the inner world from Sankhya philosophy perspective, where the inner world of each one of us is based on this concept called Panchavimshati, that is 25. Pancha means 5 and Vimshati is 20 in Sanskrit. So total is 25. Now, what are these 25 elements? So as per Sankhya philosophy is, there is a Purusha, which is consciousness, and there is Prakriti, which is the basic or primordial material, from which the Mahat, which is Buddhi, and then Ahankara stems. And from there, the Trigunas come in, and these Trigunas then help us to have Trigunas. I am sure many of you would have heard Sattva, Rajas, Tamagunas, and these gunas will then lead towards or produce, rather in a way, they produce the manas, they produce the tanmatras, panchabhutas, and with all the panchabhutas, our body is made, and the indriyas of cognition, that is indriyas of cognition, indriyas of action, which is jnanendriyas and karmendriyas. I'm sure you'd have heard about what karmendriyas are and jnanendriyas. So Jnanendriyas are your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin through which you would understand or you have the cognition. Action organs are your hands, feet, speech, excretory organ of generation. And the tanmatras are about your what you hear, the sound, the capability or capacity to hear, capacity to touch and feel, being able to recognize a form, smell, or have taste on your tongue. And each of these have a equivalent Panchamahabhutas. One of them, the sound, for example, comes from it is based on ether. Touch is based on air. Form is based on fire. Flavor based on water. Smell based on earth. Now, why are we talking about all of this when we talk about inner world? Is our inner world is essentially made of all these different components and based on the ahankara or the guna, which is prominent or predominant at any point of time, at a given point of time, our behavior will be based on that inner world state when we interact with the world. So this is one aspect, or this is one perspective I wanted to talk about today. And then we're also going to now look at what is possible in terms of our thinking or minding process. So, like I said, there is nothing called mind, as you say in the physical body, it is more metaphysical. So, I am more comfortable to also, I can probably talk about it instead of mind, I can say minding as a process. And what is this minding process doing? It is doing it is making some choices at any point of time, whether it is good or bad, whether I want to do this or not want to do. So this choice is what every time our minding process is doing end of the day. Now, what is the trigger for all of this? The trigger could be the external event that is happening. Let us say you're having a conversation with your boss, or you're having a conversation with your spouse, or children, or parents, or anybody stranger in the when you're traveling, for example, right? So at every moment, when you're interacting with the world, then the trigger can come from the outside. The second trigger could be our own inner side, like which can come from inside also, without the external. Uh, I would say without external event happening, our own memory suddenly, let us say, sometimes suddenly our memory goes back to some place and then it suddenly start giving us some kind of a neurological or some kind of a trigger that happens inside, and we go into a, a thinking process or a minding process. Now, this choice making mind, which is what the whole minding process is doing, takes inputs from multiple components, if I can call them, for ease of understanding. These inputs could be are categorized into different things. What you're seeing on the left side are the inputs on this: the goal mind, the desire mind, analytical mind, thinking mind, feeling mind, also internal reaction, attention, which is either ego-based or observer-based. Then there is subjective data, objective data, and then rule mind, which can be high rule or low rule, and also rule database that we might have for our own. Each one can have their own rule database. Similarly, the primitive and embedded patterns. Now, let us spend a moment to just have one understanding of each of these, so that as we move forward, we understand how we are going to look at this. So, for example, the primitive and embedded patterns you can in a way consider as vasanas. Okay, you would have heard about this term called vasanas in Sanskrit or in your own languages, the equivalent of vasanas, right? Which is an impression that is coming to us either from this lifetime or any other lifetime, possibly if you believe in those aspects, or it could also be coming from your own family systems that you are part of. So these are embedded in us through, let us say, called genes or whatever other names that we give. These are all coming to us at the time of birth. Then we keep adding more patterns, which we can call acquired patterns. So we keep adding them as we go, but there is a standard primitive embedded patterns, which could also be that the creation part, transformation part, and the maintaining what is there and understanding the systems. So these are all could be the primitive and embedded patterns. Now, then there is feeling mind. All of us have experienced feelings, right? Feeling of love, feeling of jealousy, feeling of whatever. So that component, let us say we're calling as feeling mind, which makes you to express or have that experience of what it feels to be human in a particular moment or in a particular relationship. Then there is thinking mind, which is allowing you to have thoughts. The analytical mind helps you to analyze the whole situation, whatever that is happening, so that you make sense of the whole situation and then come up with some action, which we will see in the outcomes. Now, and there are two important aspects, which is a desire and a goal. So desires are, we can have multiple desires. For example, you might want to sit in meditation for next 2 hours. That could be a desire. Or for it could be a goal also that I want to achieve success in my profession. The desires could also be like, I would like to watch a movie, for example. So like this, there could be multiple desires, but typically goals are, as you grow into the maturity, the goal becomes probably maximum one, or sorry, it can be either one or two maximum. So as you move towards the mind mastery, the desires will come down. The feeling mind will also lose its control mainly on our thing, not in the sense that we become numb or rigid, but we understand the feeling mind, we understand the whole component of our minds, and then we pick and choose what is best for us when we are operating from a space of understanding of our own mind. Similarly, during this whole journey that we have, let us say somebody is 20-year-old, somebody is 30, somebody is 80-year-old, based on the life journey that the person has, based on the experiences the person has, and also the interpretation of the experiences the person has made, because each of us interpret the same situation differently. That comes from our own way of interpreting what is happening. Based on that, we also keep getting or collecting or gathering lot of subjective data and also objective data. So subjective data could be I like this or I don't like this. I like white, I don't like black, for example. So these are all subjective likes and dislikes and phenomena like that. Now, objective data is more like understanding what is. And many of us who are into this meditation practices and sadhana, all of us are looking at, can I see what is, right? Many of us have this question, how do I look at what is? So if you're based on the objective data only, we are able to look at what is instead of our interpretation of what is. And then in the rule mind, there are two aspects. One is the high rule, and there could be a low rule, depending on where we are applying. For example, looking at or following the rules on the road. For example, walk on the left side, or when it is red light, then you stop. These are all, let us say, our low rule mind, low rule database. High rule could be something more like understanding the nature and working with the nature at a higher level and having a bigger picture. Now, all of this become inputs to the choice making mind, which is the main component that we are talking about, because the mind, like I said, the minding process is what is the outcome of minding process is either it does reactions, whether it could be internal reaction, which happens internally, like I'm talking about now on the outcome part of it on the right side. So the what we do in this whole process of minding, we have new rules, new subjective data that is coming in, or new objective data that is coming in, or new rule data that is coming in, and new acquired patterns also that can come in. Now, all of this for the next time, they will become or they'll become the inputs for the next time, because now that is part of the database of both subjective, objective, and rule database. And acquired patterns will, let us say, we can club them along with the embedded patterns. So as every day passes by, we keep adding more subjective data, more objective data, more rule data, and more patterns. Now, this circle will continue to go on as you keep experiencing life and reacting more instead of responding. And the internal reactions and latent reactions are, as you would understand from the terms, internal reaction is something. So something happens, I feel something inside. So that, again, at a very basic level, I can say that is the internal reaction. So it is not coming, you are not reacting to the outside, you are not expressing it out, but it is happening inside, which is the internal reaction. Then there is a latent reaction, which is you experience something, you hear somebody saying something, you hear somebody shouting at you, but the response of that or the reaction to it happen internally, but outside you will probably do it maybe after 1 hour, after 2 hours. So it is a latent reaction. Then there is a higher payoff or higher level of responding, which is initiatives. So taking initiatives so that you are able to fulfill your purpose or whatever that you think is more appropriate than just merely reacting to somebody's actions or words or thoughts. And now I hope this is uh, something that you're able to comprehend, understand. I'm going to move on now to more deeper details on. So what we now looked at is on the inner world. how the inner world is, what all the different components of inner world, how the trigger happens, and what all happens inside our processing brain or processing minding process, and then what could be the outcomes. Now, there could be more outcomes. I'm just giving you a overview of the high level for us, right? So that we have the basic understanding. Now we are going to look at the outer world. So, and these terms that you're seeing here, whether it is UCA or BANI, these are coming from the leadership styles or leadership literature. Now, what is UCA? UCA is V stands for volatility, U stands for uncertainty, C for complexity, A for ambiguity. And on the other abbreviation for BANI is brittle, anxious, nonlinear, and incomprehensible. Now, imagine or visualize yourself, or even you can, with your closed eyes or open eyes, you can visualize how you are experiencing this world, let us say 10 years ago to today, for example, right? So every day something is changing, and today the whole world seems to be very volatile. Suddenly, suddenly Corona happened, and something else happened. Wars are happening. So much uncertainty, so much of complexity of things are happening, and there is no clarity, right? Which is ambiguity also. And also, at some level, we are also, all of this world outside is giving this feeling, or is just giving that sense that it is not that stable, not that strong, and also giving us that feeling of anxiousness, and suddenly becoming from a linear understanding of this, how it will happen, A, B, C, D. Now, suddenly we see it is no more linear that way. It is like exponential, maybe. So sometimes it becomes difficult to comprehend. So this is the outer world. So if you have to look at your own life, for example, when you're talking to your parents or your spouse or your friends, brothers, sisters, uh, essentially siblings, friends, your bosses or peers or anybody at office, right? At your own workplace or when you're serving somebody, everywhere if you apply this to each individual also, it remains to be somewhat true to that, because everybody is volatile in a way to some extent, because all of us are going through the minding process, and many of us stay in the idea that we are probably victims of life, or somebody is going to use or abuse us in whether it is financially or relationship wise or something else, right? We constantly are looking for threats. What could happen? Why this person is so nice to me, for example, right? Nobody nowadays is very, uh, I would say, feeling comfortable when somebody is good, because all our alert systems are up and running to say that, okay, what could be the ulterior motive? So even if the person is really being good, really being compassionate, we are not able to see that, because we are preoccupied with so much. We have so much of triggers coming, and we have so much of negative information that we have, that we can't really appreciate goodness many times in our lives now. So applying this to your own conversations with people, your own experience of life, I'm sure you will see that it is very complex. For example, between a wife and husband, the wife feels the husband is very complex to understand, or he is probably very volatile. Suddenly, he becomes very loving, and another moment he becomes like he starts shouting. And the husband might think, oh, it is very difficult to understand my wife. She is very complex in her thinking. So, just to give those examples, right, for us, it is a daily occurrence for us when we are interacting with the outer world. We may not be leaders at a national level, we may not have that kind of impact from the outer world, but in our own spheres of influence, in our own space of where we feel we have to live, we have these aspects also bringing us those anxious moments, uncertainty, and uh, less of comprehension of how to decode or understand what is happening. Now, we have seen the inner world, and we also saw what could be the external world or outer world. Now, this is another view for us to look at is, let us say, the left side of this environment. Let us say I'm calling it more like outer world, because that's where the data is coming. Different things are available for us to see through different senses. Like you watch something, for example, you're watching a movie, or you're watching somebody, or you're listening to a music, or for example, you're listening to me now. So like this, there is so much happening outside, and with all the five senses, we are gathering that information, and that is coming into our own sphere, which is the inner world, if you may call. And with our limited attention span, we are picking and choosing what is relevant here, what is appropriate for me to pick up, and then that you are going to take it into your sphere, and then you are going to internally, how the minding is going to work is going to figure out, okay, what are the memories I have, is this matching with that memory, whether it is short term or long term memory, then it goes back, recalls what happened. Then, okay, when this happened last time, this is how I responded or reacted. It didn't work out. So now let me see something else. Or last time it worked, so I'll do the same thing now. So that pattern formation also happens, and we keep processing the same information, the same event, maybe similarly, unless we are shaken up a bit due to some other situations or some other condition. This is another view for us to look at how we are processing information, how we are forming patterns of acquired patterns that we talked about, how we are doing that on a daily or moment, every moment that happens. Now, I'm also going to slightly touch upon the aspects of the brain. When I say aspects of the brain, so well, initially we talked about, the brain is divided, or again, from a you see, scientifically everything is divided, and that, like, that's how everything is understood. So from that perspective, the left brain and the right brain, if you take those, so then there are four characters that are emerging from here. Two of them are thinking, and two of them are emotional. So the character one is left brain thinking, which is more rational, which has this right or wrong perception, good and bad, moral compass, perfectionist, and stress. This is the left brain thinking. Now, left brain emotional is character two, which is anxiousness, being overwhelmed, blaming others, becoming emotional, feeling abandoned, and needs soothing from other characters, which is character 3 and 4 and 1, for example. Because when you're in emotion, it is very difficult to come out. Right? I think many of us would have experienced it either in childhood or even today, that it becomes very difficult, overwhelming for us to handle some of these emotions. Now, character 3 is the right brain, emotional, which is which is about exploration, more of adventure, more socially meeting with people, more stable in that way, and have deep connections. And also, it stays in the present, and more of empathy and compassion, if you can use those words here. Now, character 4 is the right brain again, which is more peaceful, open, loving. Uh, Again, here and now, many of us would have read these books, right? Power of Now and how to stay here and now. All these meditation practices, sadhanas that we do is about how do I live in the present, right now, without going to the past or the future. And similarly, being grateful to life, meditation, we talked about it. And then the characters, which are one and two, they're strength thinking and emotional, they are quiet, and by bringing this, it is more like, let us say, saintly person, for example, right? Having that understanding, more peace, more compassion, more joy, more open to receive, more open to new perspectives, more loving to people. So all of these characters, these are the different characters that we all have. Now, so again, I would like also to clarify. before you make those decisions. Oh, I should be saintly only always. Like character 4 is the best. Don't. It is not like that. This is about uh, at the appropriate time. Am I able to use that character? Like for example, if you have to solve a problem, then you have to practically use your thinking, which is the left brain thinking, for example, which is rational, then use the rational brain to solve that problem. So that is important there. Similarly, when you have to experience joy or you have to experience the sadness, character 3 and 2, you'll have to use. So all these four are important, and all these four we always have access to. It is the only invitation is that don't get as much as possible stuck in any one pattern. See, see any situation that is coming up. See if you can see from more than one character perspective, or if possible, all four characters, so that you are able to respond in a way that is most appropriate. And like we and while at a moral level there are rights and wrongs, but in our approach to life, in our ways of being, right and wrong may not really define what it is. It is more like, is it appropriate or inappropriate, or is it useful, not useful, or is it helpful and not helpful. So we'll go one more step down on these characters so that we understand this a bit more. We spoke about it, but this is something that will also help you understand how our brain works. So the brain thinking character one we spoke of is the in charge of the to-do list, like we said, the rational, it gets things done, productive, goal-driven, judgmental, hierarchical, all of that is part of character one. Character two is about your survival. So it protects you from getting hurt. It takes in it. Yeah, they say right, like a tortoise, it takes everything inside so that it is not getting hurt. Also, it is egoistical. If unhappy, wants everyone to be unhappy. So I'm unhappy, so everybody around me should be unhappy. So those are the typical aspects of character two. Now, character three is about moving forward thinking. Anything is here and now, very playful, creative, forgiving, curious, inspirational. So those are the character aspects of the character three. And character four is about goal is to love and to be loved unconditionally, grateful, connected to all that is, open-hearted, expansive, generous, compassionate. And many of you who are listening to this, or you will listen to the recording later, are into meditation, into sadhana, and so many other things to reach to this place more often, right? We are all here to feel like many of us have this feeling, okay, I'm so grateful that I am alive today, or I have this deep connection with my parents, or I have this deep connection with my spouse and children, and be willing to receive more in this world and more generous in your own ways, giving you time to serve somebody or giving donating money for something. So this is the place that all of us want to be as much as possible in a 16-hour day that we have. Why do I say that? Out of 24 hours, let us say you all sleep for 8 hours, we have 16 hours. So in those 16 hours, where are we spending most of our time? Is it character one, two, three, or four? If you can look at your own lifestyle or daily life, I think you will also know where you are standing more and how you can move towards the character that you would like to have more in your life, because each life situation is different, every person is different. There is again no right or wrong, or okay, everybody should be at character 4 or everybody should be at character 2. That doesn't work. There are no rules here. We have to pick and choose what is most appropriate for our own life, where we are in the life journey. So again, moving forward on this, we talked about the characters, four characters, and also where are you in your brain? Like where is your brain in this moment? So if you go from the bottom, when you are in the character two, for example, it is more of feeling brain, and so there are two parts of the brain. The top one is called, or the front part is called prefrontal cortex, and inside the near the stem the brainstem when it comes off and connects. So that is called the limbic system or amygdala and other components are there. So when we are in the character 2, for example, this is where we are, the downstage brain, and we are not in control of what is happening to us. Then when you move to the next, which is yellow zone, the more cautionary, that you know something is happening and you know that, okay, now I have to start probably applying my prefrontal cortex thinking brain more than feeling brain. So the third level is about the thinking brain, upstairs brain, ready to learn. So that is where all the learning happens, because prefrontal cortex allows you to be open to receive more information, new perspectives, and is willing to learn more from what is happening around us. This is also called the thinking brain. Now, another way to look at this, the inner world and outer world, is another creative or another way of looking at is. So there are first five senses that all of us are aware of: the touch, taste, smell, sight, and hearing, that all of us know. And the sixth sense is the interior of the body, the how these five senses are processed inside and something else comes out. That is, let us say, we call sixth sense. And the mental activities are the seventh sense, and in understanding the interconnectedness is eighth sense, and all of this is the awareness. Now, all the meditation practices, sadhanas that we do is about how do I improve my awareness? How do I improve my consciousness? How do I become be able to see the bigger picture as much as possible, right? This is what we are all trying to achieve, whether it is at work, in our own lives, or even personally for our own self. Am I in the right place? Am I mentally? I'm in the right place? Am I thinking in the right way? Am I having the right kind of experience that I would like to have? If not, what should I change? This is what constantly we are thinking through, right? So this is another way to look at it. This is how the inner world is, and which is interacting with the outer world, uh, which could be volatile, uncertain, anxious, and all of those things. So how do we manage this interaction with the outer world is the most important thing in our daily life. Another way for us to look at also is the brain, body, environment, and mind. This is more like a summary of what all we discussed about mind, brain, and environment. Brain is in the body, definitely, as all of us know. And then there are different systems in our bodies, like immune system, endocrine system, respiratory system, metabolic changes possible, genes, hormones, so on and so forth, right? Neurochemical changes, psychic consequences, physical, psychological stress, all of that is part of it. And this is like a triangle, if you see all of this. And from there comes the behavior, awareness, and consciousness. So that is the minding process, for example. That is the engine that is processing all these inputs and then giving out some outcome or output or some action. The action could be what you say, the action could be what you think, the action also could be what you do. So action doesn't mean always something physically happening. It could also be your words, your thoughts, and also the energy that you are working with in that moment, what you are going to give to the other person, for example, and also your own real action. For example, if somebody is raising a hand, what you do, that is a split step, right? There's a trigger that is happening internally. Okay, is this a small child? Okay, 2 year old, he doesn't know anything or she doesn't know. So no, there is no threat. She can hit me, right? It's okay. But if somebody like same age is, and when you see him, this person is very angry for whatever reason, it is raising hand. Then what you do will be different from what you do when you are with a 2 year old who is doing the same action. So this is a split of a second. How do you bring that awareness? How do you become the appropriate behavior, whether you have to run away or you want to stand there, you want to fight. So all of these are like a split milliseconds where you have to take those decisions. Now the mindset, when you look at it, so there is the evolution of mindset or the progression of mindset. So we have this troubled mindset, and from there, we can move towards excellence mindsets. Similarly, we are at poor effort and poor reward space. From there, we can move to effortless effort and sustainable high reward. Or we are at, let us say, constant emotional irritability. We're always irritated by what is happening. And from there, we probably can move towards super achievement state, which is complete self-regulation. Irrespective of what is happening outside, we are able to completely in control of what is happening to us, not from a space of I want to be like this, but you are able to naturally be like that because of your self-regulation, your own self-practices, your own understanding of your own mind, your own behaviors, right? From that space. Now, if all of you or some of you can take, uh, uh, there is a quick assessment that you can, there's a company called Seeker who has come up with a great tool on measuring the cognitive attention score based on the Vedanta philosophy, the Upanishads, and Bhagavad Gita, and so on and so forth, yogic philosophy of last 5,000 years. So they have come up with this AI-based tool, which can help us to know where we are now. Because all of this that we spoke now, maybe some of us already are aware of some of it, or maybe some of us are learning new. But this is knowledge only, right? This is all the possibilities. But for each of us to know where am I right now? Am I in the, let us say, when we saw the two sides, right? Dependent, independent, whether am I in bondage, am I in freedom, am I unconsciously living or consciously living. So if you see these two as the two sides of the like two ends of the spectrum, where am I standing? If you would like to understand it, there's a quick assessment available. You can take maybe 2-3 minutes. I can wait for 2 minutes. If you can take use the QR code, and you can uh, look at this, and then we'll also talk about what all is possible here. And if anybody wants to use chart, I can also. Anybody, can you message if you are going to take this or you want to take it later so that I can either move on or stay for 2 minutes here? Anybody can message, please? Sai, can you help me with that? Okay, I'll give 1 more minute and then I'll move on. This is based on your biological rhythms, your food habits, your exercise regime, or your sleeping habits. Just based on those, they have built this whole AI-based tool which can assess and give some measurement on where we are on 5 different bands. We'll talk about it in a minute. Okay, I will now move on. So the mindset progression can happen when we. So first thing is for us to make some progress in life, irrespective of, okay, let us forget this mindset progression, but anyway, let us say you're in one place in your own house. Now, unless you know where you are, you don't know, and then only you can decide where you want to go, how much time it is going to take, what vehicle are you going to use, right? All of that will only be happening once you know where you are. So consider this more like understanding where you are right now. For example, let us say you're at organize. So there are like it is divided into 5 different groups or mindsets, groups of mindset, for example, right? So feeler, explorer, organizer, leader, and game changer. Now, let us say you're at let us say when you do this measurement, your score comes to be around organizer, for example. Then what that means is you are already at a better level than feeler in terms of how you are managing your mindset, your daily routine, all of that efficiently. Now you have a scope to improve from organizer to leader and from leader to game changer, right? So, or let us say if somebody is at leader already, then that means either you have to maintain to be a leader by following what you're already doing, or you want to improve, you can move towards game changer and stay there by bringing in those remedies or attention management. Because end of the day, what is life, right? Life has two main components in our living. One is the energy that we bring and the attention that we bring. So many of you would have also heard that energy flows where attention goes. So these two are the most important aspects of your life. So whether you're doing, let us say you're playing with a child, or you are doing your own, let us say you're an accountant and you're at your desk doing some work, or you're a doctor, for example. So how much attention are you able to bring? How much unwavered attention are you able to bring to that task in hand will help you to be efficient there and also ensure that you're able to complete it so that you can stop getting into redoing of things. Now, when we talk about redoing, let me also give you an analogy from a karmic standpoint. Now, let us say there is something that you have to complete with somebody, whether it is with your parents or spouse or friends or somebody, right? There is something to be done. And if you don't complete it now, then there is a possibility that you have to complete it in the future. It could be in this lifetime or in any other lifetime. So if we start learning and applying these principles of, for example, completing an activity or completing the task, uh, very at the basic level also, and at the highest level of understanding also, like doing everyday morning stuff like routine also, or even having a higher understanding of, okay, how do I manage all my relationship? How should I be in this relationship? What should I do here? What is my role as a person? And are we fulfilling those roles in the full understanding of what is required? So this is a mindset progression we can talk about. And these are the so when you do the assessment, you will get these different scores. The scores can be 20 or 50 or till 108. The number can be any of those, and all of that will fall into one of these brackets or one of these buckets for that matter. Feeler, explorer, organizer, leader, and game changer. Now the attention, so the first band feeler is more ego attention dominant. It is in pink band. Mustard is more like desire, mind, and world. Organizer has like in blue there are two bands, lower blue and higher blue. Lower blue is still ego attention based, but higher blue is slightly better in terms of bringing more observer attention. So ego and observer attention is 50-50, and JD is more observer attention dominant, and the green, fluorescent green is more of observer attention most of the time, like 95% plus. Like this, with the CAS scores I talked about, the cognitive attention score, you see the column, you see the fourth row. Uh, so up to mid 20s is in feeler or pink band, up to mid 40s is mustard, up to 54, that is 40 to 54 is organizer, which is the lower blue band, and higher blue band is 54 to 69, and jade is 60 or 70 to 99, and game changer is 99.5 to 108. So like this, there are again, how much are we able to think, system of thinking, how better it is, like in terms of understanding, in terms of different hierarchies. This is about the gunas that we have, sattva, rajas, tamo gunas that all of you are aware of. Just that what could be the percentage? Again, these numbers may not be exactly this, but it's just a reflection of where or how it could be, so that we have some place to know where it is or where I am now, and I know how do I move forward from where I am. Similarly, another aspect to look at is equanimity of mind. Again, most of us here are meditators wanting to have more equanimity of mind. Even Bhagavad Gita talks about stha prajnata. Right? We are all inspired by those aspects of our understanding or our ancestors. So equanimity of mind, if you see, it is excellent at the game changer level, which is the fluorescent green, while at the pink level it is very low. As logical, right? We can understand that. Similarly, reactiveness is more at the pink level, pink band level or feeler level, compared to a game changer, because game changer is no more reacting to something. He is more, probably this person, he or she is more responding, is more in tune with what is happening. So very less or almost nil reactiveness. More initiative of life itself becomes an initiative compared to, let us say, mustard or a lower bands. And task completion always complete. That is what it is. But for example, a jade bean, a person could be very high, almost close to 99%. So, so like this, all those different components we spoke of in the initial part of the discussion about feeling, mind, desire, mind. What is more prominent in each of these bands? How that component is either increasing its number or decreasing its number as you move from left to right on this. Similarly, the goal mind, rules, ego attention, thinking mind, analytical mind. So you become from full subconscious, like 100% unconscious or subconscious, to fully conscious as you move towards game changer. Goal mind also will become more stronger and more clear, because the game changer always has the clarity of life. Life itself is a rule and an example to live by. And rules are whatever life offers, and observer attention is 100%. No more ego attention of identifying with me, mine. It is more observer attention kind of a person. Thinking mind is fully conscious, analytical mind also is fully conscious. So now all of these, whatever is now open for this game changer personality or mindset, that will help the person to lead a joyful life or have joy from the life that the person has. It doesn't mean that person will not have challenges. It doesn't mean there will not be roadblocks. It does not mean that life becomes smooth. But this person, because he understands or she understands what is required and how, where the person is, what is the nature of life, what is the nature of the universe, what is happening around me. So this person is able to understand and appreciate life and then live in a way that is more conducive to have a experience which is joyful from his own space or her own space. Now, this is this is where all of us want to go, right? That's why I wanted us to again look at the same table that we looked at, the subjective and objective. We all want to move towards objective. That's why I think all of us are having these conversations on a weekly basis. They become more independent, become more taking initiative than reaction, become more observer, attention based living, bring more freedom, and become more neutral, bring more wisdom, right? And heal and have balanced life, right? And also completing whatever is to be completed without any redo work. So I'm going to end this now again with the same thing that we saw by Master. The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. And I'll take a pause, and if any questions, please bring them in. We'll try to answer one or two at least, and then we'll do a 10-minute, 15-minute meditation, and then we can go on with the day. Sai?
Yes, sir.
Can you help me if anybody has any questions? I'm not going to see the chart at this time. I'm going to also stop sharing and so I can come completely on this. So yeah, anybody has any questions or any comments? Anything more to say before we start the meditation practice? Okay, so I think there are no questions here. So we will then start the a simple meditation or a dhyana. And if all of you can settle down, maybe if you want to just stretch yourself for a moment, you can stand up and stretch your hands and legs. And also, if you want to have some water, please go ahead and do that. And we'll start in 1 minute. So there are more retreats coming from the QLU. As you know, every week some these meditation classes happen, and also there are a lot of retreats on inner child healing and family constellation, past life regression, and also by some of the Acharyas from QLU, sacred breath, and so on and so forth. So keep looking at those opportunities of learning and see how you feel that can help your journey. Okay, so I hope all of you are back, and we'll start our meditation practice now. So thanks, Sai, for bringing this. So yeah, these are the retreats, residential retreats at Kotipally University, family constellation and transgenerational healing from 30th April to 5th May, inner child intensive retreat from 2nd to 7th April, and the art and science of past life regression from 15th to 20th July. Okay. Let us close our eyes and bring all your attention to your body. Feel or observe if there are any sensations in your body, any discomfort, and allow your body to adjust itself to come back to normalcy, to come back to comfort. Your body is intelligent and it knows how to set itself right in the sense of becoming more comfortable in the posture. If you would like to take support of your back of the chair, you can go ahead and do that. As it is said, Sthiram Sukham Asanam. So any posture that is comfortable and stable is what we are looking at. There are no other rigid rules here. Allow yourself to have a stable, uncomfortable sitting posture. Slowly bring your awareness to your breathing, the inhalations and exhalations. Observe the path the breath is taking as you inhale, touching your nostrils, to your lungs, and into your body. Naturally, when you exhale, how the air feels when it is coming out of your nostrils. Is it hot? Is it cold? Observe how it feels when you exhale air from your body. As you become stable in this observation, as you become comfortable with this practice of observation, bring in another level of observation of all the thoughts, all the emotions or feelings, or all the sounds or noise, however you would like to call it. Bring all of that into your attention and hold them lightly. Just observe as if you're observing a cloud in the sky. Help yourself to become an observer of all that is happening in your inner world. The inner world includes your body, the sensations, sensory organs, the abilities of tanmatras, karmendriyas, and jnanendriyas, their own thinking mind, or all the minding process that we explored, and your attention. Is it ego based or is it observer based at this point of time? Bring all of this into your sphere of observation now. There is no need to hold on to any thought or a feeling or a sensation. This is just being an observer. Like an eagle flying high in the sky and observing what is on this earth. Bring that eagle eye, bird's eye view. Continue to stay in this observer attention space for another minute. Pure observation. No judgments, no attachments, no analysis, no justifications. Pure observation of what is. Now slowly visualize a challenging situation or person or anything in your environment that needs this kind of attention as an observer, and see that in your mind's eye, and visualize how it feels when you bring this observer attention to this challenging or critical or key situation or person in your life. How it can transform or how it can be handled, how it can be appropriately taken, considering the loving kindness that you can bring in. Even if it feels uncomfortable, know that it's not going to last for long. Be willing to bring this higher observation capabilities, detaching from the ego observation. Stay with this person or situation or whatever that you have chosen for this experiment. Now you can thank this person, this challenging person, challenging situation, or challenging whatever that you chosen for being in your life and helping you to find a new you, a new way of being, which you weren't able to access or be when this challenging situation or person is not in your life. Every challenge has the potential to bring us more growth. We can ask yourself, how do I grow in this challenge, this life? How can this help me to become a better person? What else do I need to learn to be a better version of myself? And take in all the learnings, all the insights, the reflection that you are receiving, make a mental note of them. The lessons that you are learning that you feel is important, so that you can bring them back to your life experience. In a minute, we are going to come back to this moment of meditation. So I invite you to spend this next 1 minute completely with yourself, finding the goodness or the insights or learnings, whatever that you're able to pick up. Thirty seconds. So slowly start to come back to your body attention, taking all the peace, calmness, learnings, lessons, insights, and love into this moment, into your body, into your space, your inner world. Bring your attention back to your body. And as I count from 5 to 1, on count of 1, you will be completely be present with refreshed energy, regeneration in the present moment. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You come back your own time. You can rub your hand palms, keep them on your eyes, touch your face, feel your body, feel your face, and come completely into this moment with ease and joy. Give 1 minute for everybody to be back here completely. Welcome back. Thank you for taking time and spending time for your own self, your own growth. And I thank Dr. Newton Garu and Dr. Lakshmi Garu, the QLU Sangha, for this opportunity. And thanks to all of you for joining. Namaste. Thank you.